Developing online tutorials, the tech basics. Not absolutely necessary, but something that can be extremely helpful is something to write on when you're giving a tutorial. One of the first options that you have is the Microsoft Whiteboard app. Microsoft has its own whiteboard app. You can install it on your computer and you can write on your computer. You make your computer screen look like a whiteboard. Super easy to use as far as writing things on your screen. Another one is Microsoft PowerPoint. If you open up Microsoft PowerPoint, there are options within PowerPoint to be able to write on the screen. And so if you need to know how to do that, I'm going to be creating some videos, separate videos about how to use each one of these individually. You just kind of have to choose which one you like. There are a ton of online whiteboards as well. When it comes to online whiteboards, oh gosh, there's just so many. I'm not going to list off any specific names because it changes all the time. Ones that I used to use no longer exist. There's better ones now. Some of the ones I really loved I don't love anymore. They've changed. So online whiteboards, there's a lot of free ones, a lot of them that are easy to use and can be quite accessible from your computer. Smartboard programs as well. I mean, you don't think about them as a program on your computer, but they usually are a program on your computer where your computer is connected to your smartboard. At least many of the smartboards that I use are like this. So you have Active Inspire, which is on a lot of the computers at our school, Danville High School, and I've also used eInstruction. That's what I used at other schools, and I've also used it at Danville High School. It's permitted to install there. And there are others, any type of smartboard program. I know Google has one, and there are others that you can use. Finally, let's not overlook one of the most basic ones, a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen. You can always write on this, and you might be thinking, how am I going to make an online tutorial with just a piece of paper or a pen? It's possible, and sometimes it might be the most useful one that we have, especially for where I'm going with this tutorial. So you may need to choose first how you're going to write on your computer and which one of these apps you feel comfortable using. This brings me to this next question. What are you going to write with? You need something to write with. So if you're writing on your computer or on your tablet, you have a few options. One that I've used in the past, if you're using eInstruction, this is also something you can buy for yourself online. It plugs in with USB. I've used this particular device for several years myself in class because I can walk around and I can write and it shows up on the screen at the front of the room, so I'm not having my back to students. This is one I've always liked to use in class, but it also works great when you are not in class and you're just on your computer. This is basically the same option. I know a lot of the teachers at the school where I'm at use this to be able to write from wherever they're at in the room, and it shows up on the screen on the front. And I think with math teachers, these are two of our favorite things that we have. Not all math teachers like to use these, but I know a lot have really embraced the using of a tablet type slate or whatever you want to call it for your classroom. Now for myself at home, something else I was able to find for rather an inexpensive price was, now this is called the XP Pen, but if you just look for a writing tablet, drawing tablet, digital drawing tablet, there's all kinds of options on Amazon. This is one that I found that was really cheap. It just plugs directly into USB, and it gives me the option of being able to write on my screen by writing on the tablet. It works basically like a mouse, and we go that route. Some of you have nice tablets anyway that you can write on that come with a stylus, so this is another option for writing on your screen. And let's not forget the one I mentioned at the end. What if you're just writing on paper? If you're just writing on paper, then I recommend a pen, especially the G2 Pilot. Oh, so smooth, so neat, so pristine. Just a beautiful experience of writing. I love the gel pen. But it's up to you, depending on how you're going to do this, but this is probably leading you to the next question that you might have in mind in making the decision on these first two questions. You might be asking, well, what am I going to record this video with? What am I using to record the video? I mean, you might be asking, what are you using right now, Mr. Harmless? Well, there's a lot of different options for recording your screen. One of them is Screencastify. I've used Screencastify for several years. Most of the videos that you can find on my personal website where I've created geometry videos, I've used Screencastify just because it's super easy. I can create some videos on how to use Screencastify, but it's really simple to use, and it uploads directly into YouTube or into Google Drive, and you can also publish it. You can share it to Google Classroom directly from the app. I loved it so much. I actually bought the paid version of it. It wasn't very expensive at all, and use that all the time. Another option is in your ActivInspire, which is for your Promethean board, or in your e-learning, some of these whiteboard apps, and I'm sure all of them, I know that these two for sure have a screen recording option built right into the program, and so these are two options as well where you can record your screen. I'm currently using PowerPoint, and as you'll see later, there are options within PowerPoint to be able to write on your screen as well. I mentioned that before, and then PowerPoint has the option to be able to record that. Like I said, that's what I'm using right now. I'm actually just using PowerPoint to create this video. So PowerPoint is a really interesting option. And then finally, well, in fact, with the PowerPoint option, I could probably show you right now. I can just turn on my pen, and so you can write on this right here. I can use my writing tablet and write my name. Okay, so there's a lot of options in here that you can do with PowerPoint to record your screen. Let me turn my pen back off here. Okay, so PowerPoint is a great option for screen recording. It even has built within PowerPoint a screen capture element, and I do have a separate video showing you how to do just this part. I will try to link that below this tutorial. If you want to see how to use PowerPoint to create videos, it's an option that I've come to really enjoy. Also, you can use a webcam. If you are recording using paper, this is one method I found to be extremely helpful. Is I aim the webcam down to my desk, just looking at my piece of paper and my pen and what I'm writing. It can record my voice, and I create videos. And a lot of times kids really enjoy this because it makes them feel like they are right there with you while you're working on it. And so it's almost like you're just hovering over them going, this is what you do, watch how I do this. And so if you have that type of relationship with your students already where you're kind of that guide when it comes to the work that you're doing, I found that a lot of my kids really like it when they just see my hand, that paper, that pen, writing that out. It looks good to them. They enjoy it. It feels real. And so that is an option that I've used from time to time, especially if I have different manipulatives. The webcam makes a great option for creating videos where you're using manipulatives. Finally, believe it or not, I have created several videos using my cell phone. And now this is one of those selfie sticks. I don't have one of those, but if I've used one of those clamps like you have in your car, and I've located it right above my desk, pointing down at my desk. I've used my phone to record a video of what's going on my desk. I've used the phone to record a video of me talking, and you can put those things right into all these other programs and kind of do a conglomeration. In fact, with all of these things, you don't have to stick with just one. Sometimes it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Honestly, whichever option you choose, you need to find out what works for you. You don't want all of the pressure to be on the technology side of it and not any effort put into the content. And so you find what works, you find something that's easy, even if it doesn't do all the amazing things you wish it could do. You find what works, you find what's easy, where you can express yourself in a way that the kids can hear it and comprehend what you're talking about. There's a lot of helps out there. For today, I'm going to be focusing on using PowerPoint because that's what I'm using right now. But like I said, all of these other options, if you would like to know how to use those, at the end of this tutorial, I'm going to have an option for you to ask questions. And you can say, for example, could you show us how to use Screencastify to create a video like this? Or can you show us how to create one that's on, because If you get too complicated, you start having to doing some video editing and all of that. And honestly, sometimes when you go that route, you miss out on what you could be doing. This is why I like using PowerPoint, because it's all in one, at least as far as I'm concerned. This leaves me though with one last question, is the delivery. You still have to deliver this content to your students, and so you also have to decide before you get started what is going to be your delivery option. Now, there are a lot of interesting ways to deliver your lessons, and I want to give you just a few examples. One of them is Google Sites. If you're watching this video through my full professional development tutorial, then you are looking at what was created by a Google site. And there's a lot of options in Google Sites. It's fairly simple to use, but Google Sites is a great way if you want to deliver things to the broader world. If you want to deliver things to your students, you don't want them to have to worry about signing into anything because it is a website. Another option is Google Classroom. I know that our school likes to distribute things using Google Classroom. If you are a teacher and you're trying to distribute things, this is a wonderful option. There are so many things that are incorporating now with Google Classroom, and so if you're just thinking how to deliver what I have to my students, Google Classroom is a great option. I know that even in the professional developments that we're offering, we have several Google Classroom professional developments where you can learn how to use this amazing tool, but it is a great tool for lesson delivery. Google Forms is another option for lesson delivery. You can embed YouTube videos into Google Forms, and this is a great way to do this. In fact, I'm going to have some examples before this tutorial is over of using a Google form to deliver the video, where you can have some questions underneath the video where the student has to answer those questions. And in fact, you can set it so that they cannot move on until they've answered those questions correctly. So this is a great lesson delivery medium. You can even use Google Forms and embed that directly into Google Classroom or into Google Sites. There are a lot of combinations you can do. Now, for the videos themselves, I recommend using YouTube. If you do upload your videos to YouTube, you can list them as unlisted so that a student does not have to sign in to see them, but they can, but they're not just going to be discoverable to the broader world. So if you want the students to have easy access to your videos with an easy link that they're familiar with, let's be honest, our kids watch YouTube. YouTube is a great option, easy to do. You can set up your own channel in YouTube. This is what I've done with most of my videos. You can put it onto your personal YouTube. You can use your school's Google account to use YouTube. A lot of options there for you to upload to YouTube, but it's an easy way for students to access them without needing to sign in to see them. And like I said, you can keep it unlisted so that the broader world isn't finding your videos. But if you don't care about that, you can keep it public. The final one is Google Drive. You can also upload videos to Google Drive. They will look very similar to YouTube videos as far as the play and pause features, things like that. You can embed Google Drive videos into other websites. You can make them public. You can keep them private to where a student would have to sign in with their school's Google account to be able to access them. I know that there are other options that are similar to Google Drive, like Dropbox. But Google Drive is a good one that I know that at least at our school, a lot of people are using Google Drive, and it's a great way to upload videos and share them with people where they're not just going to be public for everybody, especially if you have things that you're talking about where you'd only want your class to hear it. Google Drive can be then put into Google Classroom. Unfortunately, you cannot put Google Drive videos into Google Forms. Most of the other options will still work. If you want to use Google Forms to deliver the lesson and you have videos, you'll need to upload your videos to YouTube to be able to do that. Well, that covers some tech basics that you're going to need to figure out before you decide your content and what you're going to deliver in your tutorial. For today's situation, I've obviously chosen to use Google Sites as far as the delivery of the videos. I'm uploading my videos to YouTube, but I'm using PowerPoint to create the videos and the backgrounds that you see. I'm going to use PowerPoint for all of the writing that I'm going to do. I normally, if you know me, you know I'm a Google person. I'm big on everything Google, but this particular feature in PowerPoint I found to be exceptionally helpful. Like I said, I will try to have some other options available for you if you're like, I don't want to use that option. There are plenty of other options, and I will try to create additional videos for those, especially if they're requested. So when this is over and I have a question portion, please include those things that you would like to see, and I can add those in. In the meantime, I'm done with the tech part. What I'm going to move on to next is when we think about the digital tutorials and we're thinking about putting content online, let's think about what exactly it is that we are going to be delivering. So if you're ready for the next part of this video, once this is done, just click next and we'll get to the next portion.